You go ahead and you start this time. I mean, you start the intro.
No. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to our podcast, Ripples and Reflections. And we're here to give you a recap of our football forecast from last weekend. We're both sitting here in disgrace.
Shame.
Really, really shame. And but before we get into that, we do want to start with tonight's predictions because it's Thursday already, and believe it or not, there's a Thursday game coming right on the heels of a Sunday loss, and so we have to recover and make a prediction. Do you want to start with a prediction, or do you want me to?
This week it's your turn to start.
It is my turn.
It's your turn.
All right. Well, we are playing the Los Angeles Chargers, formerly the San Diego Chargers. They were really looking like they're going to have a good team this year, but they've had rough last weeks, I think, three. So we're going to have to give the edge to them. I don't really see us rebounding all that well until we resolve our offensive line issues. I think we're going to continue to struggle. So I do anticipate another Vikings loss here. I'm going to root for them to win. Don't get me wrong. That's always the goal. But if I'm being realistic, and if I were to put money on the game, I do think the Chargers are going to pull this one out. Call it 27-21.
Okay. We're going to go opposite again this week. I lost a little faith last week, and I think, with them being on the road, I think it's going to be a little bit more of a challenge for them. We've got a few guys still on possibly injured reserve. As of yesterday, I was looking at who practiced on Tuesday. Van Ginkel's limited. Wentz was limited, but he's got to play. CJ Ham, I don't believe is playing. And let's see. O'Neal?
Yep. Still out.
Okay, and obviously JJ's out because that's why we have to have Wentz. So I'm going to say Vikings will win. I'm not going to say when they're going to pull it out. Actually, no, not. I'm going to say, unfortunately, that the Chargers are going to win this one, and the score will be 17-14.
Well, you're going to have to do some edits here. You're vacillating. Just for a viewer's perspective here, she started off saying the Vikings are going to pull this one off, and here she just changed her mind. But go on.
It's early. I've only had one cup of coffee. Give me a break. All right, we'll see how they do.
With the video editing, there won't be any of this after the fact editing where you have two possible predictions that you can pull out and play.
We need to talk about last week's Vikings game. Unfortunately,
I don't want
to. we are somewhat punishing ourselves for our predictions last week by sitting outside in 36-degree weather in Minnesota.
Semi-outside.
Screened in, but fireplace is going.
It's still 36 though.
Yeah, we got the blankets on. So last week was a bit disappointing, hugely disappointing. We had a lot of faults on our team, and there's definitely not just one person or one play to blame.
Really? No, I agree with that. It's a team loss. We struggled protecting the quarterback. The quarterback made a few serious errors, but the whole team struggled, even on defense, right? We let them score 28 points. That's not a good defense, or at least not a good defensive result. Everybody still says we have a good defense, but it seems like when another team needs to make a play, then. So that's somewhat disappointing. But my biggest concern continues to be the offensive line, and that's where we're at. We're having trouble protecting the quarterback, trouble opening up running back lanes, trouble all around. Makes me worried.
Yeah, I agree. The unfortunate plays that Wentz did, a couple of them. I mean, come on, man. If you can't find a receiver down the field, please don't just throw it up. It's not your last play of the game. There was still lots of time left, and that's unfortunately what caused, was it one or two interceptions this last week?
Yeah, there were two, but the one was, the one was pure pressure, and that one, you have a 300 pounder in your face, and you're trying to get rid of the ball, and you don't see the smaller linebacker in the way. That one I kind of understand. The other one was a true jump ball that you're throwing up there for whatever reason. The reality is we were struggling before that play though, because that becomes an incomplete pass. The next thing you know, we're punting anyway, and they probably have the ball at the same location. But still, jump ball, we need to make completions, and we struggle doing that.
Yeah, and I think that Hawkinson was robbed of that touchdown. I mean, we've allowed a lot of, or sorry, the NFL referees have allowed a lot of other plays that were questionable, and called it as a touchdown. And that ball didn't hit the ground. It was still in the sphere of his fingertips as he rolled, and I would have given it to you, but I am not a referee.
Yeah, it's one of those technical calls, right? There are a lot of rules for catching a ball in the end zone, which really fly in the face of other rules, right? If you're running the ball and all it has to do is just touch the plane, and basically the play's dead at that point. It's a touchdown. It doesn't matter what happens when the running back does in the end zone. If the ball comes out of their hands after that, none of that matters with any other play other than a reception. And then you have to have complete control. You've got to cradle it in your arms. You've got to swaddle it. You got to bring it home, put it in the crib. It's ridiculous. But those are the rules, and that's what the ref saw. I could clearly see it the other way as well. And had they called it a touchdown, I think you would actually have fewer objections than you did with them calling it incomplete. But it is what it is. But that's just, one of the 20 things that happened that caused us to lose the game. You can't get in the end zone a half a dozen times and just kick field goals. That doesn't make sense. You can't win that way. And your defense can't let big plays happen whenever they need to happen. It was a team loss.
And the thing about touchdowns that are valid, like when they touch the corner pylon and it falls over like a Lego brick.
Yep.
Touchdown. I don't get that one. I honestly don't.
Break the plane, and the pylon is part of that plane, and I get it. I'm really more concerned about the long term here. I had a lot of high hopes for the season. I think we on paper we had a top tier team, with the only question mark being the quarterback. But now all of a sudden we seem to have gaps and holes everywhere. Starting again with the trenches, starting with the protection of the quarterback. I'm one of those that had high hopes for JJ. Had a really rough 7 out of 8 quarters. One quarter looked promising, but that's not a Super Bowl competitive team. I really thought Wentz would do better. And really I was going to be fine with Wentz starting the rest of the season, but now he's making critical mistakes at critical times. And as the Vikings have known, for many, many, many years, if you don't have a quarterback, you're not likely to win the Super Bowl. So we really need to.
It's kind of important. Kind of important to have a good quarterback. I think you made a really good observation the other day when we were talking about JJ McCarthy. And granted, the injury he had last year was major. Unfortunately, it took him out really early in the season for the rest of the season. But now he has another injury, and he's been out for, is it 3 weeks now?
4, I think.
And what was it that you said you hoped he wasn't?
My fear is, he's been in the league for a year and a half now. He's in the second year, and he's played, 3 games? I sure hope we don't have a Force Lindahl here. This is not something you need, and I don't mean to disparage him, but if you're not on the field, you're not helping the team. And you got to stay healthy, and you can't break every time you get touched.
Very true. I agree. We really want to acknowledge everybody who viewed, reacted, and commented on last week's prediction podcast video. It was really great. On Instagram, we had over 6,500 views. I don't know if one of the Vikings players that I tagged perhaps looked at it. Maybe the Vikings team looked at it. Thank you for your support. We also had some great views on TikTok, a lot of great comments. So I wanted to read through some of these. Jorg hasn't heard a lot of these, so this will be the first time he's hearing them. Go Vikes. Love that. You can always tell a good Vikings fan. I thought your man dude was a GB fudge packer with those colors. Thank goodness he showed the Vikings logo.
For those who aren't aware, I had a Vikings long sleeve, I don't know, it's t-shirts, sweatshirt type thing on, but it was black.
And gold.
With gold sleeves, and it did have the Vikings logo on it, but I can see how somebody might look at the black and gold. I would have been more worried that they thought maybe it was Pittsburgh. I certainly wouldn't support Green Bay.
No, sorry, Green Bay. We have friends who are diehard Green Bay Packer fans, and no.
And as everybody knows, right, if you think about the hierarchy of team support, and I support a couple other teams because, hey, I need a winner now and then. We lived in Denver for a while. I am a Denver fan. I'm a Baker Mayfield fan, so I may root for Tampa here or there. I was always a Tom Brady fan, so I rooted for that team. Vikings were number one in the tier. But if you have Vikings as number one in the tier, by definition, Green Bay is 32nd.
Okay, back to the comments. Skull, Vikings all the way. Skull, Skull. You look like a nice couple, but the Eagles are still a top tier team. I'm not an Eagles fan. However, I would have been very surprised if Minnesota had won. Go Lions.
Yeah. Hey, great that you're a Lions fan. It's about time that they have something to cheer for. So good for them. I think Dan Campbell is great. Again, they're in the division, so by definition, I can't really root for them at all. Although I don't root against them unless they're playing the Vikings. But Eagles being a top tier team, they barely beat what at this point is a mediocre Vikings team. So good luck with all that then.
Next comment. Losing. Thank you, Captain Obvious. I love this one. Vikings lose on a tush push. That's what the NFL wants. Now, I have to say something first before Jorg reacts to that one. I am not a fan of the tush push. I am so concerned that one of the players or multiple players are going to get head or neck injuries on that. Wish the NFL would take that one out. I'm glad that they have to tell the other team that that's what the play is going to be, but I'm still not a big fan.
I don't know. I don't think anybody's actually been hurt on the tush push yet. It's basically a rugby scrum. Granted, not really a football play, but stop it. That's your role as a defense. The only thing I would say there is that the refs really do need to watch it, because if the reasons that the Eagles are so successful is that they jump the ball and are off sides doing it, not that that's the case with the Vikings for the one time they did it against us. They didn't need to do it more. But if they do jump off sides, it needs to be called and they need to be penalized 5 yards, and good luck with a 6-yard tush push.
Perfect weekend. Vikings lost, Packers won. Good for you.
And by the way, I give them credit for the spirit and the intent there. Clearly, if the Packers are their number one team, then the Vikings should be their second or 32nd team. So good.
Skull. Somebody who left a very random hashtag with lots of capital letters that makes absolutely no sense. And I'm pretty social media savvy, so still trying to figure that one out.
Hey, day drinking's acceptable.
And then, didn't work out well, did it? No, it did not.
Nope.
To the point that Jorg and I have come up with something for the loser from the previous week predictions. Now, we both thought the Vikings were going to win, so we both are losers on that point. But then we looked at the points, and from now on, and I should have put this on earlier, but I'll put it on now, and next week we'll start it at the beginning of the recap. the Helga hat. There you go. What do you think?
Nice hat. What do you get? A free bowl of soup with that hat?
On a day like today, I do.
Looks good on you, though. And thank you, Rodney
Rodney.
Dangerfield.
Oh,
Oh my goodness.
I forgot.
Caddyshack.
Oh, I was going to ask the viewers to name that movie. That is a great scene in the movie. I love that one. We want to hear your predictions. We love your comments, love your feedback, your reactions. Feel free to share our videos on the social channels. And we really appreciate you listening and watching.
Yes. Go Vikings.
Go Vikings! Go Vikings! Please! So I don't have to wear this next week. Actually, I would have to wear this next week.
Yeah, because you predicted they would lose.
You're to wear this next week.
Good luck with that.
Thanks for watching.
So
Skål!